It's the third of 3 concert weekends that brought swarms of visitors to San Francisco, and people living near Golden Gate Park, they are ready to put the music on pause.
3 long weekends, and now I'm glad it's finally over.
We'll hear from neighbors with mixed thoughts on the back-to-back events.
So I'm just happy I get to share it for a few weekends, just not the parking spots.
Plus, we'll check in with a San Francisco family getting ready for the new school year after upheaval in the district.
I think that the current superintendent is really intent on fixing things that were broken in the past.
And the clock is ticking for people who call San Jose's largest encampment home.
This park is my family.
The scramble to find housing as the city gets ready to clear out the sign. And later, a decades-long effort to bring a new national monument to the Santa Cruz County coast is finally paying off.
They will be protected forever.
We'll meet an entrepreneur from down under with a groundbreaking way to corral the livestock grazing the land.
The ranchers can draw these lines on an app on their phone.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening, I'm Devin Feely. Juliette has the night off. 3 weekends, 3 massive concerts at Golden Gate Park, and it is finally winding down, but not before one last show. It kicked off 2 weeks ago with Dead & Company bringing tens of thousands of Deadheads to San Francisco to celebrate the Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary. That was then followed last weekend with the annual Outside Lands Music Festival. It took over the park for 3 days, and it all ends tonight with a big concert from country star Zach Bryan. All 3 of those events raked in much-needed tourist dollars for San Francisco businesses. But some neighbors living near the park say that it came at their expense. Da Lin is live outside of the polo field where the final concert is well underway. Da, how are the neighbors feeling about this final show?
Mixed feelings, Devin. Now, the Zach Bryan concert kicked off around 3 o'clock. You can perhaps hear the country music in the background, perhaps even a little rock and roll in the background as well. A lot of fans streaming in as we speak. Now, a lot of neighbors say great for San Francisco that it's been the music capital of the world this month, but many of them are relieved that this is the final one. As fans lined up for the Zach Bryan show, neighbors were bracing for more traffic headaches. Some even put up expandable safety barriers to keep concert goers from blocking their driveways. Parking has been a nightmare for 2 straight weekends, so Franco Fortin was shocked he found a spot when he got home Friday afternoon.
The biggest challenge for me has been parking. I do not have a garage or driveway spot, so I have to street park.
Franco lives just a block away from the concert stage. He says most neighbors either leave town or avoid driving when there's a big music festival at the polo field.
Last Saturday during Outside Lands, I had to drive around noon, and when I came back, I couldn't find parking for like 30 minutes, and I ended up parking 12 blocks away.
Despite the hassles, Franco says overall the concerts have been good for San Francisco's economy and great for small businesses. But he admits packing tens of thousands of people into a residential neighborhood for 3 weekends straight will cause problems. We checked the city's 311 website and saw a lot of complaints. Blocked driveways, urine bottles, trash, and tons of noise complaints. Fed up neighbors even left some colorful comments we can't say on TV. Shut that bleeping noise off. They just don't bleeping care. Another wrote, take your outside bleeping lands and go bleep yourselves. This is a residential neighborhood. One neighbor who didn't want to give his name put it this way.
Depends on how you feel about the music. If you're somebody who enjoys the background bass, I haven't met anybody who likes just the noise of bass music, but I'm sure they're out there.
Even big music fans in the neighborhood say they're tired.
It was 3 long weekends, and now I'm glad it's finally over.
But some neighbors got creative, turning problems into profits. Some rented out driveway spots. Others, like these 2 middle schoolers, sold homemade cookies and brownies to hungry concert goers.
A long time ago, we saw our neighbors doing it, so we decided to do it. And then we made money, so we kept doing it.
Franco hopes the city can find a parking solution next year, maybe a temporary street parking permit for neighbors.
Yes, very, very glad. Yeah, I'm excited to go back to normal.
Yeah, a Recon Park spokesperson says, neighbors, we hear you. She tells me they're working with public transit to try to reduce the parking issue. In terms of for the long-term solution for next summer, that might take some time. Now, the good news for neighbors is that this Zach Bryan concert is a one-day event only. Unlike Dead & Company or Outside Lands, like last weekend, it doesn't drag on for 3 days. So after tonight, back to normal for the neighbors. Devin?
All right, thank you, Doss. Certainly a light at the end of that tunnel. Now, there is more live music to enjoy in the city this weekend. Last-minute tickets to see Diana Ross at Stern Grove dropped about an hour ago, but fans hoping for seats, they were in line overnight. You can see them camped out with lawn chairs. This was a chance to score tickets for people who weren't selected for the ticket lottery earlier this year. Now, we talked to two friends who met at Stern Grove last year and came ready to wait.
I knew ahead of time that this was a big possibility, so I planned for this accordingly. You see, I got my hat, I've got a chair here. I knew exactly. I only knew one person who won.
This is Stern Grove's big picnic weekend. Damian and Stephen Marley are playing tomorrow. Diana Ross will play on Sunday. Time is running out for those living in San Jose's largest encampment. They have less than 72 hours to get out. San Jose plans to start clearing the encampment on Monday. It is located at Columbus Park right next to the airport. About 300 to 400 people call that park home. Now, we spoke to Kat Davis, who has lived there in her van for more than 6 years and even calls herself the mayor of Columbus Park. Now, she says about 60% of her neighbors have a place to go, but the rest never even got a chance to apply for shelter.
The Russian people, they ran out of applications. I did all, thanks to me, I did all the work on getting my family out here to go get signed up for the hotel program, and they ran out.
The city says that its outreach teams have been working with homeless residents for the last 60 days to connect them with housing options. That includes 5 motels, the first of which opens on Monday. Although the mayor admits that there aren't enough shelter beds for everyone right now, this is all part of a $24 million plan to revitalize Columbus Park. In just the last hour, President Trump boarded Air Force One and departed Alaska after a high-stakes meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump's goal was a ceasefire in Russia's 3-year war with Ukraine. The meeting began with a handshake on the tarmac of the joint base there in Anchorage. Hours later, the leaders, along with 2 top aides, each emerged from discussions that could shape the future of the war-torn Ukraine. But the talks failed to produce any deal to halt the fighting.
We really made some great progress today. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there.
The summit ended early without a planned meeting between a broader group of officials. We'll have full coverage of the talks in Alaska coming up at 6:30 on the CBS Evening News. Back here in the Bay Area, students in the San Francisco Unified School District will head back to class on Monday. Families are looking ahead after a turbulent year. The Board of Education operating budget for the upcoming school year. Now, as Suji Nam reports, the district is still facing challenges, including escalated state oversight of the school budget this year.
Emily Diayora has 3 children in the San Francisco School District. So back-to-school preps have become second nature.
Our elementary school has a new incoming assistant principal, which we're actually really excited about.
Diayora is a part of the SF Parent Coalition, a nonprofit organization of about 10,000 parents that recently pushed for the district to implement a new math curriculum this year.
We really believe that parents are stakeholders that should be at the table with the district and the Board of Education.
Diayora adds that budget concerns are top of mind for many families preparing to send their kids back to class.
I think that the current superintendent is really intent on fixing things that were broken in the past. Nobody's perfect, and I know that the district is still missing staffing in a lot of key positions, and so it'll be interesting to see how they fill those roles.
District Superintendent Maria Sue says the district is on its way to cutting the $114 million needed to balance the district's budget, while avoiding closing or consolidating schools and keeping all educators on staff. The district's central office, which handles administrative needs, was heavily impacted.
We had to separate with almost 500 positions. Of those 500 positions, 350 of them were actual people because those positions were filled. And that means that there'll be maybe a delay in response when teachers or schools are asking for support from central office.
But Sue reassures parents that despite these cuts, it should not impact education inside the classroom.
On day one, you will have a certificated and qualified educator in your child's classroom.
Meanwhile, for Diayora, she says she wants more transparency with the district.
One of the big issues we're working on is communication and transparency, mainly around where we are on budget implementation and how that's going and how close we are to getting out from underneath state oversight.
Diayora knows it could be an uphill battle for the district this year, but is optimistic that she, along with other SFUSD families, will walk the walk together with district leaders.
And here's the good news. With the strides that they've made, the district plans to appeal this to the state later this year with hopes of getting out from under increased state oversight. Recess is about to get more exciting at Joaquin Miller Elementary School in Oakland. Volunteers with Kaiser and Steph and Aisha Curry's Eat, Play, Learn Foundation were out upgrading the playground today. They painted murals and installed new jungle gyms and garden beds. And not only did they build new places to run around, they also put in places to read and for outdoor classrooms. Volunteers said that working on the playground brought back fond memories of their own childhood.
When I was a kid, I was a runner. I loved running around. So when I see the little track that's we built around the basketball courts, really excited about that. I remember jumping on the jungle gym, really excited about that. So anytime you get an opportunity to run and move and build up that cardiovascular system, that's what always gets me excited.
This is the 20th remodel that Eat, Play, Learn has done with the Oakland Unified School District. And still ahead here at 6 o'clock, there is a brand new national monument near Santa Cruz. We'll show you the unique way that nearby ranchers are keeping the cattle from grazing where they're not supposed to.
And they can really manage the land in a totally different way.
Plus, local air officials taking East Bay Landfill to court over emissions 30 times over the legal limit. And later, a colorful convention descends on San Jose. We're going to check in with guests who got decked out for GalaxyCon. Acme Corporation, a landfill near Martinez, is facing heat from regulators after a 2023 inspection found methane levels 31 times the legal limit. The landfill is located on Waterbird Way in an unincorporated area of Contra Costa County, just east of downtown Martinez. Now, Acme was hit with a civil lawsuit from the Bay Area Air District earlier this week. The company is accused of failing to address gas leaks that could contribute to climate change. The Air District is seeking a nearly $90,000 fine. Since the late 90s, Acme has forked over hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines over dozens of toxic waste violations. A 3-acre grass fire burned dangerously close to some homes in East San Jose today. You can see the burn scar on this hillside near Rica Vista Way. That fire broke out just before noon, and check this out. Our photographer Vince Garrido spotted a helicopter dropping water on that fire. San Jose firefighters were able to stop its forward progress about 45 minutes later. Luckily, no homes or buildings were damaged. In Solano County, crews were also able to stop the spread of another brush fire that burned about 167 acres near Lake Hernan Road in Cordelia. Cal Fire says that the fire is 30% contained at this point. Crews are now working to strengthen containment lines and to put out hotspots.
It was definitely hotter for inland parts of the Bay Area today, and the fog even took a little break right at the coast for a little while. Didn't help your temperatures too much, 60s at Half Moon Bay in San Francisco, but temperatures reached up into the 90s in Concord and Santa Rosa. Take a look at where we go this weekend, coming up in the First Alert forecast.
And we're joined now by Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan. So today was the hot day, and then you've dialed up a picture-perfect kind of weekend forecast. A little cooler,
A little breezy. I don't know if I'd call it perfect because it is going to be.
I mean, cooler. If all you're looking at is cooler, which is all I'm looking at.
Right. For inland folks who don't have to watch their electric bill just kind of whir around, yeah, then it's going to be picture perfect. If you want to do stuff outside, might be a little windy. Let's talk about the reason why here. It's because we're going to see an unusual feature developing. In fact, it's already developed, and that is an atmospheric river and the storm system directing it towards the Pacific Northwest. Look at all of this cloud cover, and you can see that band of clouds reaching way out into the Pacific. That is just the hallmark of an atmospheric river. And this is actually the middle of the scale. It's an AR3, not a weak one. All the rain with this is going to be staying to our north, but it's close enough to squeeze the atmosphere over the entire west coast, kicking those stronger onshore winds, and it's going to send some cloud cover into the skies overhead as well. But there is the rain missing us to the north. Some showers making their way into far northern California, but you can see the closest it gets to us is maybe into Mendocino and Lake counties. That's going to be a few sprinkles here and there. I don't think you're going to see anything measurable. But again, around the Bay Area, we are going to have more cloud cover and that stronger onshore breeze. So let's track the clouds first. And we're going to see the low cloud cover and fog pushing across the bay and well into the inland valleys by early tomorrow morning. And while it retreats to some extent tomorrow afternoon, it doesn't really go away for much of the East Bay and in the Santa Clara Valley. So you notice how the North Bay does clear out, and that clearing line is really going to define how our temperatures behave. Just look at the temperature pattern as we go through the day on Saturday. We see the reds showing up. It's where temperatures are likely to climb up into the 80s, but it's a sharp dividing line between north and south here, and where temperatures are only going to reach up into the 70s farther to the south, even inland. So Livermore is going to be stuck in the 70s, a good dozen degrees below normal. Temperatures close to 10 degrees below average in San Jose, but around the bay, temperatures a mix of 60s and 70s, still 60s at the coast. And then for the North Bay, where you do see the sunshine breaking through, you at least reach the upper 70s, if not up into the middle portion of the 80s by tomorrow afternoon. It's far from hot, but it's not a cool down that's going to impact everyone across the entire Bay Area. And those winds are certainly going to be noticeable over the next couple of days. Let's take a look at the wind chart as we go through the course of the next 36 hours or so, every 6-hour wind chart here. That for Saturday and Sunday shows the strongest gusts exceeding 30 miles an hour, and it continues overnight into Sunday, just reinforcing that cool marine air as it makes its way farther and farther inland. So Sunday's actually going to be the even cooler half of the weekend, except maybe in the Santa Clara Valley. You warm up a whopping 1 degree in San Jose, but you don't return to near normal temperatures until Tuesday. And then we flip the switch back to summertime, a stretch of above average temperatures from Wednesday through the rest of next week and into the following weekend. Only about 3 to 6 degrees above average, so no extreme heat in store for us. But it is going to be a noticeable change after this cool, breezy weekend that is in store for us. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we'll start inland, where temperatures are going to be a mix of 70s and 80s over the weekend, and then we climb into the 80s pretty much area-wide by Monday and Tuesday, and then a lot of 90s in store for us by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But I think even the hottest spots are just going to approach triple-digit territory by the end of next week, and that's not extreme heat for the middle of August. Temperatures Bayside will be cool as well, falling short of 70 degrees Sunday and Monday, but then flirting with 80 degrees by the latter half of next week. So that is a shift. And temperatures, while they don't change a lot along the coast, you are going to see a change as well after a gray, foggiest weekend. We see temperatures warming up maybe a degree or two, but more sunshine starting to break through those clouds by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week.
Look at how foggy those tubes are on the coast for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
They're like super foggy and fogged in.
So it's what you expect. If you're going to see Diana Ross, for instance, at Stern Grove, it'll be foggy, it'll be breezy. It's what you expect.
Bring a sweater, bring a coat.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Paul. And coming up, a new national monument, decades in the making, is finally opening along the Santa Cruz County coast. It is called the Chitone Coast Diaries, and it sits along Highway 1, just north of Santa Cruz, right outside of the coastal town of Davenport. At 5,800 acres, it's more than 5 times the size of Golden Gate Park. The land was once considered for everything from nuclear energy to luxury homes. Today was celebrated in a ribbon-cutting ceremony, but as Lynn Ramirez shows us, the real story is how this land is going to be preserved and shared for generations to come.
The ribbon came down in an instant, but the road to this moment took decades. What was once private land eyed for nuclear energy and gated housing is now something very different, the Chitone Coast Dairies National Monument, and hikers were allowed to hit the trails for the first time.
The designation of these lands being a national monument means that they will be protected forever.
Located just north of Davenport, the monument will be controlled by the Bureau of Land Management. It opens up nearly 6,000 acres for hiking, biking, horseback riding, and picnicking on what was once historic dairy land. 70 head of cattle still graze here, but with a modern twist. Each cow wears a solar-powered collar made by a company in New Zealand called Halter.
The function of it is virtual fencing. So we use boundaries that a rancher can set on their phone to contain but also to move the cattle. And so it's working with the cows with a few different sounds. It's got sound, vibration, and a low energy electric pulse. So what it means in an environment like this is instead of building miles and miles of physical fence, the ranchers can draw these lines on an app on their phone, and they can really manage the land in a totally different way.
This is one of the first public lands in the nation to use this kind of technology. But it's not just about innovation, it's about preservation and safety.
So one of the ways the collars can be used here is actually keeping the cattle off those public walking tracks and pathways to make sure we're minimizing that conflict between visitors and the cattle while still enabling the rancher to graze as effectively as possible.
This land was once home to native peoples. Now, thousands of years later, tribal descendants help secure its new status as a national monument to protect it from future development.
That coastal prairie is recognized as one of the most, if not the most, biodiverse landscape in North America. And so the vision of our tribe is to restore this coastal prairie.
Whether you come to hike, ride, or just breathe in the views, the Chotoni Coast Dairies National Monument is open, and its future is finally secured.
The monument is open year-round, and parking and access maps are available on the Bureau of Land Management website. When we come back, costumes and comic books, robots and celebrities. We're going to take you inside the San Jose GalaxyCon. Plus, here's a look at what's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
A tug of war over control of a major American police department, and it ends up in a late Friday afternoon emergency court hearing. I'm Scott McFarland. That's coming up on the CBS Evening News.
Now you can get your KPIX news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.
KPIX is the official home of 49ers preseason football, and tomorrow afternoon it's red and gold against the silver and black. Kickoff against the Raiders is slated for 1 p.m. If you're in San Jose and see superheroes and aliens and beloved cartoon characters all in one place, you are not dreaming, you are not hallucinating. They're here for GalaxyCon. That 3-day fandom festival brings together cosplayers from every corner of the fiction universe to the convention center in downtown San Jose. It features a star-studded lineup of actors and creators from Marvel movies, science fiction shows, and popular anime. The convention also features a costume contest with a $1,000 cash prize. We talked to a knight who says that he is ready to show off his 3D printed homemade costume.
I'm an artist, and this is what I do for art.
What do you hope to do in there?
Well, same thing you're doing with me right now. Have a ton of people take pictures of me.
The convention continues tomorrow at 10 a.m. It wraps up on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Well, thank you for joining us on this Friday night. The CBS Evening News is next on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're going to be back here in 30 minutes with CBS News Bay Area at 7.